無論是散聚，恩雨不會變，每日降在你身邊。
恩雨同路人。
COVID was very deadly to a lot of the patients.
老人院咧嗰啲嘅個案咧越嚟越多啦。
We had to open up more beds in the basement of the hospital.
差唔多所有仍然留喺安老院嘅老人家咧，佢哋都係 positive 噶啦。
The families having to say goodbye to the patients on iPad.
好孤單咁樣去世啦，我覺得好悲涼咯。
呢條港型大橋 Waterdale Bridge 係位於加拿大亞伯達省嘅愛民頓市。Waterdale Bridge 全長206公尺，可以俾車輛、行人同埋單車使用。耗資1億5500萬加元，用咗超過4年先正完工嘅 Waterdale Bridge 就證明咗呢一條橋喺興建上嘅難度同埋複雜度。為咗要尊重原住民嘅文化，保留佢哋喺大橋附近嘅墳地遺址 ，Waterdale Bridge 由設計到興建，都要面對建築同埋文化保育嘅各種挑戰。社區護士梁玉蓮 Florence 喺2020年新冠疫情喺愛民頓市爆發，亦對佢帶嚟挑戰。當佢第一次去到華人護老院照顧長者嘅時候，就要做好防疫嘅準備功夫。
前一晚咧，我已經諗咗我應該着啲咩衫啦，我應該做啲咩程序啦，帶啲乜嘢去啦，咁樣啦，就即係可免嘅就唔帶入去嘅，就淨係帶一樽水嘅啫。咁啊，食嘢就走翻出嚟喺架車食啦。咁着衫咧就要着到即係好凍啊！嗰陣時-20度啊，係我記得12月頭嚟嘅。咁入去之前咧，我以為泊好架車咁啊，即係又唔熟環境啦。咁啊泊好架車咁我就直接可以入去啦。原來唔係喺出邊排隊，好長龍啊，要排成15分鐘。因為嗰啲嘅 Nursing A 咧，逐個都要做嗰啲檢測。咁我又唔想着咁多衫入去啦，咁佢淨係着一件好薄嘅羽絨啦，咁就要排入去。好嚴重嘅嗰陣時疫情係。即係差唔多所有仍然留喺安老院嘅老人家咧，佢哋都係 positive 噶啦。咁成層樓都係 positive 噶。同埋咧，嗰啲人中招之後咧，係真係辛苦嘅。嗰個氣喘啊，即係肺炎會好快，同埋咧就佢哋啲血氧係好快降低咁樣啦。咁我就拍住另一個好彩嘅，我好彩有一個護士咧，咁我同佢拍住一齊做。佢之前一日已經喺度。即係因為係 nurse 咧，佢就俾翻啲即係 professional 嘅嘢你做，咁你就去派藥啦。咁又係好危險喎，都未識嗰啲病人，佢要負責派藥噶咯。即係每入一間房之前又着晒一套新嘅嘢啦，咁樣啦。咁我就走入去做，咁然後咧我就嗌出去 temperature 幾多啊？佢就幫我寫啦，咁oxygen幾多啊？咁咧做完之後放工咧，咁喺車度咧就要除晒自己嗰啲嘅外邊嘅衫，咁就擺落個膠袋度。咁我裏邊就已經有一套貼身嘅衫嘅咁樣，咁就咁樣揸車翻嚟。即係諗到即係可以盡量減少將病毒係帶入屋企嗰個機會咯嚇。因為嗰陣時 都唔想屋企人即係受影響啦，自己就 OK 嘅。我即係諗過，若果最差嘅情況就係我中招咯，咁我就即係我隔離咯。我其實我住咗喺 basement， 咁咧就已經同佢哋隔離咗噶啦。咁係食嘢嘅時候喺度上翻嚟食嘢，我哋一人一 corner 咁樣食嘢啦。
喺香港出生同成長嘅梁玉蓮，中學畢業就進入護士學校接受培訓。佢喺1984年獲取護士證書，工作幾年之後就決定申請到加拿大進修。玉蓮先考取加拿大護士嘅認可，然後申請學生簽證，可惜最後申請被拒。
咁我就諗住過嚟，然後咧就喺度揾下工，咁又可以揾到個agent 幫我揾工喎。咁佢就幫我揾到一個埠仔嘅一個嘅老人院咁樣啦 ，extended care 咁啊。咁咧，我記得喺聖坡呢個嘅 town 嗰度落腳嘅我，距離 Edmonton 咧就係2個半鐘頭車程度。跟住咧就要落去美國申請嗰個嘅working permit。咁咧，然後跟住就翻嚟就上工嘅。
郭以琪 Kena 係另一位服務愛民頓市嘅護士，佢係喺加拿大出生嘅華人，中學畢業就進入大學修讀護士課程。
Nursing school was for 4 years, and nursing school was very tough as well. I found what was really hard was going to clinicals. Like I was very shy, like talking to patients. Our first year clinical was going to our long-term care and helping the seniors in the long-term care. And I remember being very shy, and I would say there were times where I wasn't sure. Because I was like, this is so hard. I don't know if I wasn't very confident in my skills. I wasn't very confident in who I was. But I think when I talked to my parents, I'm like, I don't know if nursing is for me, because even bathing a patient, I'm so like clumsy. Like I don't know what I'm doing. But they kept on encouraging me. I don't know how I passed my first and second year, but I think that was God's way of saying, Kena, I still want you to stay in nursing. Third year was also very hard. So third year nursing school was, I would say, one of the hardest, because we were like in the hospital, in the one that I'm working at right now. And so I remember crying after clinical because I didn't do very well. And the nurse that I was buddied with on that unit was not very happy with me. So I got yelled at, and so I was very embarrassed, very ashamed. But I remember when I was crying on the way home, I was able to actually call my friend who was also a nursing student, but she was a year above me. And I remember crying to her, but I remember her really encouraging me again and praying for me. And I think, again, that was God's way of saying like that I'm not alone through this. By God's grace, I was able to pass. After that incident, I was able to I had to really encourage myself, and from encouragement from others as well, to continue on serving Him, and to remind myself that I'm not doing this to please my nursing instructor or to please the nurses on the unit. God really challenged me and asked me, hey, Kena, like, you're not doing this just to get good marks, or you're not just doing this just to show off to people that you're such a good nurse, but you're doing this for me.
以琪相信上帝一直幫助佢克服學習嘅種種困難。呢一份信心，除咗因為佢係生長喺基督化嘅家庭之外，更重要嘅係佢經歷到神嘅愛同接納。
In grade 8, I went to Chinese Winter Conference, and the speaker was like very touching, and the speaker shared about how we all struggle and we all have sins, but that Jesus still loves us even though we have made a lot of mistakes in the past. When I heard that from the message, I felt God's protection and love over me. So that night, it was an altar call. I went to the front, and I remember crying and being very touched, and being like, okay, I think this is what it's like to start a relationship with God, not just to go to church every Sunday with my parents.
社區護士梁玉蓮亦係一位基督徒，原本佢對基督信仰冇乜興趣，直至就讀護士學校就開始改變。
但係我入咗護士學校之後咧， 睇到嘅嘢啦，生老病死都喺眼前，同埋你讀嘅嘢係即係微細到一個細胞嘅，自己可以有即係生老病死嘅過程，咁好得意嘅，咁我就覺得好奇妙讚歎。咁有啲同學又會帶我去團契咁樣啦。咁我後來係喺護理嘅最後一年度啦，咁就去教會，咁我自己走去一個佈道會度自己舉手。有一啲嘅姊妹咧係真係好認真咁去帶我去成長咯。
成為基督徒之後，玉蓮對護士工作更加有使命感。作為社區護士，佢嘅工作只係需要到病人屋企進行護理，但係疫情期間，佢就主動要求調派到老人院工作。
老人院咧嗰啲嘅個案咧越嚟越多，聽到好多嘅故事啦，即係佢哋即係好孤單啦，屋企人又唔俾探咁樣，好孤單咁樣去世咧。嗰個我覺得好悲涼咯。咁員工又缺乏咁樣，咁心裏邊有一個使命感咯，同埋有啲嘅催逼，就係話你做到就盡你嘅本分去做啦。雖然唔係幫到好多嘅啫，神話俾我聽。去啦，做啦，咁樣神會 take care 你噶啦。咁我又好感恩嘅，即係一路都即係我都諗住可能會中招嘅，因為即係嗰個嘅啲清潔嘅措施其實真係到咁嘅情況咧，我好懷疑得唔得嘅，因為即係你洗手液都未乾嘅時候，你就要着嘢啦。咁即係唔容許你做到十全十美嘅嗰個啲嘅步驟係。
咁我知道，如果佢跟隨佢決定，佢又經過祈禱，呢個一定係神嘅心意咯。咁我哋就唯有交託俾神咯。始終都最後嗰句都係咯，人做嘅有限，人嘅防備有限，最終都係掌管喺神嘅手裏邊。
除咗護老院有染疫嘅長者需要照料之外，醫院加護病房嘅新冠重症病人就更加需要悉心照料。喺疫情期間，郭爾琪就係加護病房嘅護士。
We have to put tubes in them, or we have to do this or do that, and they're very sedated, so they don't, so that they don't wake up, and so it just feels like we're just like doing things to them, and a lot of them were also naked because like they were like very like hot, like things like that. It was just very weird to see. You would go into the units and then you would see like all of them lying on their bellies so that their lungs would get better. So there were so many of them. They would be lying on their bellies. They would be sedated. You just walk in, you just see all these machines. So it looked almost like not treated like meat, but it almost like just like, oh, like they're not really a human being because they have so many tubes, they have so many things. But I think that's where God really challenged me, instead of just like seeing it as that way, to see them as, okay, this is this person is a mom, this person's a dad, this person is a son, and to do my best to treat them as a human being. So even though they're sedated and they can't wake up or anything, I would try to talk to them. So we're encouraged to talk to them because even though they're sedated, we were taught from school that they may actually hear our voices. The patients in our unit, a lot of them were young, so around 40s, 50s. A lot of them also had families. A lot of them had kids. During that time, the hospital was very strict, so no family, no visitors can come and see them because COVID was so bad. So I found it really hard to see the families having to say goodbye to the patients on iPad, on the Zoom call. We would do our very best to try to save them, but COVID was very deadly to a lot of the patients. So that was really heartbreaking to see the family members crying on the iPad and not being able to hold their loved one's hand before they passed away. So I saw a lot of the deaths as well. So for me, I was really sad. I was also very tired because our unit started getting busier. We had to open up more beds in the basement of the hospital. We had to use some in the surgery as well. We have to wear the gown, the mask, the goggles, everything. Like you're sweating, really hot, and you just get like a lot of like acne and things like that. But I wasn't worried about it. I was like, no, it's okay. This is a small little sacrifice to make to help these patients. So yeah, I was just mostly tired, just very exhausted, just from not like sleeping well or I wasn't able to take care of myself really well.
Loving is such a natural component to her, but I think sometimes there are moments where she can get tired and burnt out too. So being able to fall back and have her cup filled up by God and those around her that can pour into her spiritually and emotionally, I think is very helpful.
雖然玉蓮唔係喺醫護嘅最前線，但係喺新冠疫情之下，佢嘅工作都有染疫嘅風險。
嗰陣時我哋做嘢咧，都已經開始好多 protocol 啦，好多新嘅嘢要做啦。咁啊，口罩啦、face shield 啦、着膠我個 team 咧就係做啲緊急少少嘅，叫做 acute care 嘅short term intervention team。咁咧就係多數係出院嘅病人啦，做完手術嘅病人啦。即係如果有任何嘅病徵嘅人咧，即係佢確診未確診，我哋都要全副武裝咁樣啦。咁好多時又會派去啲有病徵嘅人嘅屋企咧，去幫佢即係檢測啦，攞啲樣本咁啊，然後拎去 lab 啦，咁係多咗好多呢一類嘅工作。即係越嚟越緊張咁嘅樣咯，咁但係我哋都冇停過返工嘅，一路即係人話留喺屋企嘅時候，我就係唯一一個成日走出街嗰啲人，仲係即係周圍去人哋屋企嘅人，咁所以其實都擔心會帶啲病毒返屋企嘅，咁所以好緊張下，就係著衫要著得好簡單，咁啊返嚟嘅咧又即刻要拎去洗啦，去沖涼啊，入門口咧就即刻做一個過程啦，又消毒啊成啊，咁嗰排都即係就咁就過咗去，又冇乜事。嗰陣時未有嗰個嘅疫苗嘅，
我冇乜嘢可以做到啊！唯一我可以做嘅就係祈禱咯，求神保護佢啊，唔好叫佢唔好遇到病毒啊，叫佢做嘢順利利啊，平安嘅去，平安嘅翻嚟咁樣咯。
當疫苗喺2020年底推出之後，玉蓮嘅工作壓力開始舒緩。但係喺加護病房工作嘅以期，就見到醫護人員開始抱怨。
A lot of nurses were angry. A lot of nurses said, I would hear from the news or from other nurses, like, the anger was mostly, why can't people get vaccine? Why can't they trust science? There was a lot of that, very conflicting views. And a lot of nurses didn't want to work in our unit anymore because they were that upset. But again, I think God challenged me and said, no matter what, Kana, are you still gonna love these people despite them not getting the vaccine? Because I think God was saying, like, Kana, I sent my son to die on the cross for you. That his love is not just, because this person got the vaccine, so he'll love this person more just because, you know. So that anger, actually, for me, I didn't feel as much anger. I just felt more sadness. But I wouldn't really, it wouldn't stop me from trying to care for them. And not judging people on the choices that they make. Not judging them for, they didn't get vaccinated, or they didn't do this or do that. And because there was a lot of protests as well of not wanting to wear masks. And so instead of falling into hating them or being angry at them, I think God really challenged me to work on not being judging, but how can I show them grace? During that time, I think also I was able to grow closer to my coworkers and be able to create better friendships with them. I wasn't able to have like good conversations with them, but now I'm starting to have a better friendship with them after all of this. And I think God is using that as an opportunity for me to share the gospel to them. I think what God really taught me through that is whatever battle, whatever circumstance comes in my way, as a nurse, how can I best really serve God in that moment?
Over time, she would start sharing with my parents and I how she's doing at work, and after shifts, usually we'll sit down together for dinner. That's her time to kind of vent to us about the difficulties, but also I think she was really able to remember God's grace throughout that time, and would even share with us during family dinners and ask us, oh, how can she spread God's love to her coworkers because it's such a stressful time and situation.
喺新冠疫情肆虐下，一直堅守崗位嘅玉蓮同以琪，對過去2年多喺疫情中照顧病者，佢哋有以下嘅體會：
生命實在好短促嘅，即係唔知道幾時會冇啦。咁甚至好後生都會有重症而過身啦。咁人生咁短促咧，其實應該即係快啲去掌握嚇，認識神多啲啦。即係好可惜嘅，我覺得即係若果一個人去到臨終嘅時候係冇神，係好無助嘅，好可憐嘅，好驚慌嘅，因為你唔知道去邊度，所以我覺得即係要把握時間去傳福音，係讓人知道即係生命唔止咁多嘅，係有永恆嘅，你有盼望嘅。
I am very thankful for this experience. Like, I felt very honored that God placed me in this important area, and to be on the front lines is it's an honor almost. Yeah, it's almost like fighting a war, that like, wow, I could be on the front lines to be able to actually help somebody or do my best to hopefully help them, or show them the love, hopefully that they're able to see Jesus through my actions. I'm thankful because it also helped me grow closer to my coworkers. It always feels really rewarding afterwards, even though with COVID, a lot of them did pass away, but to know that, okay, I was there for them in their last moments, and to know that I could be there for them, I think is an honor. So yeah, I am thankful, but I don't wish for it to happen again. 加護病房護士郭以琪同社區護士梁玉蓮經歷咗醫護工作一段艱難嘅日子，但係佢哋冇退縮，反而願意學習耶穌基督無私嘅愛，努力完成白衣天使嘅使命。疫情越嚴峻，佢哋嘅醫護情就越深厚。
多謝大家收睇《恩雨之聲》。如果想更多了解呢一個節目，歡迎打嚟我哋嘅熱線電話31064444，或者瀏覽我哋嘅節目網頁